Hello, everybody. This is Sean, and this is another top 5 of mine. Thank you for clicking. This is going to be my top 5 worst Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade balloons. If you want the whole context of the parade, look at my last video, top 5 best balloons. This one's going to be a lot shorter, though. I realized it was a little too wordy, so we've cut it down. I'm going to give you my worst, but the bad ones are more fun to talk about. I know they're more fun to listen about, so I'm going to cut the crap and we're going to talk about some really bad balloons. I'm not going to be talking about the early ones from the 20s as much, though, because I'm going to give them a little more grace. As we've gone on in age, we have better technology at hand, and if you're not using that technology for good, and parade balloons from the past are still better than ones made today, I'm docking you even more than an old balloon that was just trying things out. Needless to say, in my honorable mentions, I will talk about some of these older ones, but that's why we're going to be keeping it more recent. With that said, here are my top 5 worst balloons in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade history. Number 5 is going to be Cat in the Hat. He debuted in 1994 till 1997, made by Raven Aerostar, came in at a whopping 59 feet tall. He's on the list actually due to what he did and not actually his design. I was trying to find some nitpick or something to say about his design just to justify having him in this top 5, but I'd be making a fool of myself. This is a cool balloon. He's on the Seuss mobile. He's got the books in the back. This was a great balloon, and I'm going to admit it, it was cool. But this guy did something bad. Something so bad, it was considered inappropriate to keep him in the parade rotation. All other balloons that were banned after the 1997 parade incident were retired for all sorts of other reasons due to size. Not this one. This one ruined his reputation. So what did he do? You may be thinking, you may be asking, why is he on the news? Well, it's a very windy day, 1997 parade. Gusts were up to 40 miles an hour. Not a good recipe for the parade if you've watched my top 5 video, top 5 best. Earlier in the parade, Peter Rabbit had hit a light pole. Speaking of, what do you guys think about this design? I have some thoughts. I want to know what you think. Tell me below in the comments. Anyways, Cat in the Hat was also thrown around. He hit a light pole once, came around, hit a light pole again. What I thought would happen is he would pop, which he did, but what I didn't think would happen was the light pole also fell into the crowd. A 100-pound light pole fell and it hit 4 people. The balloon was deflated, as I said. It still made it across the finish line, but all 4 people hit were injured, and it was pretty bad injuries, ranging from bruised cheeks to a nearly fatal coma for one woman, lasting 1 month in length. That woman sued Macy's. She sued the city of New York. She sued the light pole manufacturer, asking for $395 million in damages, and it was eventually settled for an undisclosed amount later on. So this incident caused new rules for balloon size, the retirement of balloons mentioned before in 1998, and they added a new rule that if winds exceed 23 miles an hour and gusts exceed 34 miles an hour, giant balloons are banned for that year. They just can't fly in the parade. So this was a cool concept, the Cat in the Hat, but he had one bad parade, and like I said, his reputation was done. He had to be retired, and for that reason, he's got to be on this list. Number 5. Number 4 is Indian. It's not good. Number 3 is the Red Titan, debuted in 2020, and he's still around. He showed up in the most recent parade, 2023. Signs and Shape International, first time they've shown up on the list, top best or top worst, and not for a good reason. This thing stands in at 42 feet tall, and honestly, I just hate it. I don't like it. I don't like the spirit of it. Don't like this whole Ryan's World thing. Just feels like a kid getting exploited. That's just me. But that's what it feels like to me. But what upsets me is, if you're going to add the first internet-inspired character balloon since the year 2000, frickin' Ask Jeeves got a balloon. Why are you wasting it on something like this instead of something more iconic in the internet? Think of all the things that have happened on the internet since 2000 that could have received a balloon. I know most characters in this parade, I mean, they're promoting consumerism in one way or another, but picture this kid Ryan grows up. I mean, and he hates all the crap he did, all the crap he had to do for his family, for the Ryan's World thing. Is he going to hate Thanksgiving? Is he going to hate the parade? He's forever immortalized as a balloon now, you know? This could be some trauma down the line. And I'm just looking out for this kid. Promise me. Promise you, Ryan. I'm looking out for you, dude. I realize if you watch my top 5 best list, which is pretty good, you should go watch it. I had a lot of nostalgic balloons to me, things that I liked as a kid transformed into balloons, and maybe this is some younger kids' thing they grew up with, and it makes them happy to see Ryan in the parade. And to you, I say, this balloon's still lame, and I think those kids have a lot of other things that they watch that could be represented in the parade a lot better than having Ryan from Ryan's World. I don't like it. For the few amount of balloons that are in the parade every year, I think this is just a wasted spot. And it's still in there. So I'm hoping to see it retire next year. And for that reason, Ryan is number 3. Number 2, I have Ronald McDonald, the first version. He was in the parade from 87 to 1990, and then he actually came back in 93 and 94. He was made by Raven Aerostar, and he comes in at a huge 68 feet tall. Ronald has 5 different versions of his balloon. And this one, the first one, is by far the worst. Look how creepy he is. I'm sorry. I don't even have a clown fear thing. Come on. He's upside down. He's reaching out for some unknown thing in the distance. Hopefully not a person. He has a, I just shit my pants but need to play it cool smile as well. He's in a scorpion position. A good balloon should make anyone watching, all ages, especially kids, happy looking at it. That's the spirit of the parade. Ronald does the opposite. Kid would not be happy seeing this. I'm sorry. I'm making the call. If I were a kid, I would be terrified seeing this thing going down the parade route. This is against the spirit of the parade. As I've said, you should have your icons looking great, not creepy, not wanting kids to look away. I knew the second I saw this, he was going to be high on my list. I was terrified. It's possible to do a good Ronald balloon. They've done it before. Look at him ice skating. This one's not bad at all. But can you believe there was one more balloon on this list? One more, even more horrifying than Ronald. But before I get to that, I'm going to talk about my honorable mentions. These were the ones that were on my list originally, since I was looking chronologically, making the list, but they were knocked off for one reason or another by the time I was done, so these guys suck too. Here we go. We have Father Knickerbocker, 1936, and Officer SOS 13, 1937. The father, on your left, got his nose stuck in a train line on the parade route and got his entire arm ripped off. And they said, you know what? Instead of repairing him, we're just going to remake him. We're going to recycle him. Next year, he's the officer who also lasted a year. How boring. Wasted potential right there. Pilgrim, 46, and Pirate, 47 to 48. Just like the last two, Pilgrim was recycled, turned into Pirate. I don't really understand. Why did Pilgrim come 10 years after Indian? Like, if you're going to do one, at least do the other for the whole Thanksgiving thing. Both of them sucked. They're both on this list. Replaced the very next year was Pilgrim by Pirate. It's just a sad situation all around. We have Smile. Debuted in 1971, retired in 1972. I think it's a tad creepy. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it makes you happy. But to add insult to injury for this balloon, he got recycled. And he didn't even become another floating high with the other balloons. They turned him into a hot air balloon for an Alvin and the Chipmunks float. Then the poor guy got recycled again into Barber the Elephant, as you can see on the right. But get this, Smile debuted in 1972, and through these like zombie recreations, these Frankenstein monster balloons, making him a parade float, and then finally another hot air balloon for Barbar the Elephant, which got retired in 1992. He made it across 20 years, debuted in 72, retired in 92. So that's kind of cool. He made it in the parade still for one reason or another. Pluto from 1934 to 1935. This one's scary. It was a weird balloon on wheels hybrid who was accompanying Mickey Mouse and his friends, and I don't like it. It's considered a balloon. It's not even floating. It doesn't look good. Not a fan. Beethoven debuted in 1993 till 1995 and came back in 2008. Get this. He was first made for the Beethoven the Second movie in theaters. Then, 2008, they released Beethoven's Big Break on direct-to-DVD movie, and they said, let's bring Beethoven back out to promote it in the parade. He broke at Times Square. His muzzle was leaking, as you can see here on the right, and it was just a sad sight. He was retired after that, thank goodness. They shouldn't have brought Beethoven back, I think. Just let the dog rest in peace. We have Izzy, 93 to 95. He was the mascot for the 1996 Atlanta Summer Olympics. Get this, he was redesigned to be more athletic. Guess which one's more athletic? The one on the right, they said. Oh my goodness, what, you add a nose and make him looking down at his nose? That's more athletic? What are we doing here? The one on the left's way better. Wow, look, he has a line on his tongue. So athletic. Nice job, guys. Finally, my last honorable mention, Chicken Little. He made it 2 years. Here's why. Movie was going to come out after his first appearance. Then they said, we got to delay this movie. So they brought his ass out for another parade. Knowing how the movie ended up doing, kind of a fumble, kind of a bad look for Macy's, having this bad balloon in the parade. But speaking of having bad balloons in the parades, my number one worst balloon is the Snuggle Bear. 1987 to 1994. I'm not even giving any other stats for this one. How the hell did this thing fly for 8 years? It is straight from a fever dream. This picture right here specifically. These eyes are what put it over the top. It's number one, no doubt in my mind. I mean, I guess they're going for 100% accurate recreation of this thing. You look at the ad, you look at the eyes from up close. I can kind of see what they were going for, but it translated horribly. They missed the mark so hard. It's not just one bad picture. Almost every picture I found of this thing from the floor, from people's cameras, it's looking terrifying. Imagine seeing this thing turn the corner, those bright red eyes staring at you. Makes Ronald McDonald's first version look tame in comparison. After looking at all the balloons, every single one of them, from the early 20s, there were not any that made me jump out of my seat until I saw this one. I thought it was edited at first. I'm like, that cannot be the actual balloon. It was. It is. Oh my goodness. It was on posters too. I can't believe this. In my best balloon video, which I will once again mention because it's really good and you should go watch it, I said I would anticipate these balloons every morning when I woke up. I turned on the TV to see what was new this year. If I turned it on and I saw this as a kid, I'd turn the parade off. I'd never watch it again. I might not be able to think to think straight at my Thanksgiving meal later. How did this last 8 years? If you know anything about these balloons, that's so long. Why? Oh, can't believe it. Luckily, thank God, 1994 was his final parade, and they actually recycled him into the Eben Bear. It was a Macy's mascot. And just seeing them side by side, it's obvious why Snuggle Bear is the worst balloon of all time. I don't need to say any more. That's the end of my list. And that is the end of my Macy's parade arc for now. I had a lot of fun researching these videos, but I'm going to put it to rest for now till next Thanksgiving. Maybe I'll review the new balloons since I'm all caught up. We'll see what they add. Hopefully Ryan's World is out of the rotation. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed since last time. I really appreciate it. Really love making videos for you guys. If you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing, commenting. I love responding to comments, seeing what you want. We're going back to sports for the next video. Until next time, this is Sean, and that was my top 5.